Good evening, race fans, and welcome to round number 5 of this season's One Hub Racing prospect tier for the Austrian Grand Prix, brought to you by our wonderful sponsors at Next Level Racing, Liam RBS, 3M Sim Racing, partnered with Vespertine and ERT, and in collaboration with Time to Print. I'm your commentator, Peter Knighton, and joined with me for his second appearance. He joined his first time in China. He should be our regular co-commentator, but last week he had exams and had to step out a little bit. But it's Will is back.
Hello everyone. You're correct, Pete. Just had to step out for 1 week, so hopefully I didn't miss too much. But back again at Austria here today.
Yeah, I would say you missed a very interesting Grand Prix last week. Very different strategy. Liam almost losing out on the championship lead, but managed to regain himself back up to second in Spa. In terms of drivers' standings, as I mentioned, Liam still holds 4 in P1, One Hub Racing Premium driver in the Ferrari. But King Jin, after last week's race win, gets the gap down to 5 points. He's on 60 in the Williams. Jake Combs a further 29 points adrift on these top two, so it looks like it's a two-horse race at the moment. He's on 31 points in the Racing Point as a One Hub Race Premium driver. Fozzie Bear, after finishing on the podium in Spa, is in fourth for Mercedes on 30 points, so could get himself into the top 3 with a good result this week, beating Jake. Waze is in fifth, 3 points adrift for the Alpha Tauri One Hub Racing Premium driver, with Craig Senna in sixth, with another poor result last week, falling down the order down to sixth. Only 5 points off third, so still in the fight for a top 3 finish in the drivers. It's still all to play for, though, at the front. Zach Jarvis, our new boy in the Red Bull, clawing his way up towards his teammate to show that he still deserves the seat in seventh with 22 points, with 1 win and a podium under his name. Baza, our ERT driver, in 8th with 20 points. RS Adam, who I feel is leaving, from what I've heard. We've got a reserve in today of Josh Wilkins in the Renault. RS Adam is in 9th with 18 points. Reverend Daniels, after snatching pole position in Spa last week, failing to take pole to victory, secured a few points, but is in 10th with 15. MCFC 2020, our new Mercedes driver replacing Astronaut for the season, is in 11th, scoring 15 points in 2 races so far. TJW is in 12th with 15 points as well for the Alpha Tauri. Prime Evil Rex is in 13th with 9 points. Demon, our driver of the day from last week, has his first points on the board with 7. Alex Lilliard in the Haas is 6th, One Hub Racing Premium driver. Jess Gamer getting her best result of the season in 9th place last week, was on 5 points for Ferrari. CPI Storm with 5 points in the Renault One Hub Racing Premium driver. Indecisive Mac in 18th with 4, with 2 drivers yet to score points. Pavo, who I feel is having his last race of the season, is unable to commit, from what I've heard, to the rest of the season. He is going to race tonight here in Austria. Stereogram is our final driver on the standings without a point in 20th. So, Will, you've let me ramble on a bit. What do you think of the championship so far?
Well, I mean, we were talking about it earlier, weren't we? It seriously just looks like, at the moment, it's a 2-horse race between the Ferrari driver of Liam J HMC and Kingan 79 in the Williams, both One Hub premium drivers. As we said earlier, it's looking like a 2-horse race. There's the gap from second to third is 29 points. So, I mean, God forbid, but unless Liam and Kingan crash and Jake steals the win here at Austria, or Fozzie Bear, it's not looking too close at the top at the moment. But I feel like the midfield in the championship's really close. Obviously, as I've just said, Jake from third, then all the way down to Craig Senna. There's literally like a 5 point gap, I believe. It's stupid to see how close these guys are in that gap.
Yeah, you got to remember as well, top three all get prizes at the end of the season, with 1-2 looking fairly secure. Not confirmed. This is only round 5. There's still 5 more to go. Jake is in a battle for third with a lot of, I would say, quick and strategic drivers behind him. We know Craig Senna's quick. Zach Jarvis has had the pace. He got himself a win as well in China. So he's looking for that third position at the moment. It could be a target, the top 2. You never know how races are going to unfold. Could be a strategic error for the driver, maybe pick up a little bit of damage. And this track, notoriously as well, is known for penalties, track extensions. You might see a lot of invalidated lap times in quali if people can't keep it within the track limits. It's all still to play for.
Yeah, well, I mean, just going off from what you said here, Peter, is obviously in Austria, it's, in my opinion, it's an easy track to be good at, but it can bite you in the bottom when you have these track limits that go on. Like turn 1's quite a tricky little number if you're pushing, and same with the middle sector. Actually, has a tendency to catch some people out. So. Lots of overtaking opportunities. Obviously, you've got the first DRS zone on the start-finish straight, and then from turn 1 to 3, you've got another one, and then turn 3 to 4. So we'll see a lot of overtakes happening there, and into turn 4 and 3, and maybe even 1 if drivers are brave enough.
Yeah, turn 1, you say an overtaking spot could be a downside because you have 3 DRS zones all line astern. One along the start-finish straight, one on the run up to turn 3, and then on the run to turn 4. If you get an overtake down at turn 1, you're more than likely going to get re-overtaken on the longer run up to turn 3, and even if you hold your line there, you could lose out down to turn 4. It's going to be very strategic where people want to overtake. There are going to be quite a few laps. There's 35, I believe, laps of this Grand Prix. 4.318 kilometers circuit, 10 corners as we've mentioned, 3 to the left, 7 to the right, 3 DRS zones we've mentioned, all line astern, clockwise track, and a 2-stop mandatory as usual.
Yeah, obviously, like the 2-stop is mandatory, but I feel strategy around here, it could play a part. Obviously, we have safety cars that can be brought out fairly easily at Spielberg. So, yeah, I mean, just before we're heading into qualifying, I want to know your predictions.
Predictions? Ooh, that's a tough one. King Jin's been performing well. Revan Daniels took pole as well last week, showed his pace. He's got the qualifying pace, not really his race pace. In terms of qualifying predictions, I'd like to see Liam get himself back near the top. He obviously had that poor qualifying in China. So, and his championship gap is starting to slowly close. It's going to be a close one. What lap times do you think we're looking for? Mid 1.3s? High 1.3s? In terms of this driver lineup?
Yeah, I mean, basing off what you suggested there, I'd definitely say a mid 1.3, maybe pushing a low 1.3. We do know drivers have some good quality pace. I think you mentioned King Jin. He's been consistent in qualifying, so I think we could possibly see some low 103s. Say like a 103.2, 103.3, but I feel like most of the field will most likely be in the mid 103s, like the 103.5s, 103.6s. Yeah,
could be a time to set. Maybe if the track, obviously it looks a bit cloudy right now, maybe we could see some rain at the end of the session. Not 100% confirmed, but if there is rain coming, drivers are going to start getting out on track. Yeah, maybe even with the lower track temperatures, it could be a 104 pole time. Maybe some drivers could surprise us. Also, there's 3 DRS straights. If drivers work together on setting lap times, getting slipstream could be very key.
Yeah, especially down the second DRS straight from turn 1 to 3. I feel like that is probably the most effective place where you can get slipstream and also entry into the corner, because turn 4 is quite a complex corner with entry. You can either gain a lot of time or lose a lot of time, and with turn 3 as well, I feel like it's probably easier to enter with some overspeed, obviously, because you'll be having the slipstream. But just seeing everyone come out now, and so yeah, we'll see some lap times very shortly.
We will indeed. We're going to stay on board with Liam for the first hot lap of Austria. I noticed Baza is out on mediums. Only driver to be out on that tyre compound at the moment. Maybe going for an alternate strategy in the race if he can get inside the top 10. But Liam on his lap. You want to take a nice early entry into turn 1. He does that beautifully. Takes as much curb as he can on the run up towards this little kink of turn 2. No, we don't really class it as a corner, but it still is a corner in our eyes. Turn 3 uses the curb on the left to get as much, uses the track as much as possible. Nice entry with the banked corner of turn 3. Now this third DRS straight towards turn 4. On the curb again, trying to make the track as wide as possible. These cars are extremely wide, so the wider you make the track, the more speed you can carry through. Now this tricky middle sector selection of corners, turns 6, 7 and 8, ending the sector 2. It's got a little bit of traffic up front. Will the, I think it's Alfa Romeo, get out the way, not hinder him into this really fast entry of turn 9, now to the final corner of turn 10. Don't run wide on exit and up to the line to set our first lap of the session. It's a 104 dead.
Yeah. I mean, decent lap time here from Liam. Not sure if he's going to be going again. Looking, I mean, as we said, times will be in like mid 1:13s. However, we will see these times getting quicker throughout the qualifying session. You see Reverend Daniels going P1, wanting to recreate what happened in Belgium in qualifying. He's gone with a 1:03.8. Sorry. So there's our first stint into the 1:03s. But I certainly think that a lot of lap times that could be good will, well, possibly could be damaged by turn 10. And what's gone on there?
There's a bit of contact between the Alfa Romeo and MCFC 2020 into the second sector. Well, nearly ending the second sector, coming towards turn 6 and 7. I believe both drivers were on laps. MCFC did set a lap, but he was going for another one. I noticed he didn't change his EOS down and kept pushing. However, the Alfa Romeo in front, which I believe was Pavo, Pavo's having an absolute nightmare, is in the gravel trap. There was a bit of contact. Pavo was on a lap. He doesn't have to yield if a driver behind is on a lap. Both of them can continue to push at their pace that they can. He doesn't have to get out of the way. You could say it was blocking, but then there was contact between the two drivers. Pavo was bent into a spin, and he's coming back into the pits.
Just gonna check what's going on in the session. I'm not sure if my if my game's playing up, but I'm seeing lots of people leaving the session.
We might have a restart. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, I believe we might be having a restart. Yes. I saw Indecisive, our host, leave, and from the looks of things, there is going to be a restart. Now, this might be a little bit difficult because obviously you now got the host would have seen the weather, and has now got to set it to what it would have been, I believe. Unless it goes dynamic again, that could completely throw everything out the window. But yeah, we're going to have a restart, but we'll continue with the broadcast. We'll just change lobby.
Yeah. I think Daniel will be quite annoyed with that. He's put in a decent lap time there. But I'm not sure why it's being restarted. I'm going to try and find that out for us now. Oh, he hasn't put formation lap on.
It's
yeah.
Yeah, okay, so no formation lap. Formation lap is key. Drivers get to warm up the tyres before the race. Gazaman confirms in the chat they're going to keep it on dynamic weather. So whatever weather we saw, or whatever weather was predicted for the race, is completely changed. It could be exactly the same, but we now could get some rain in quali, which could spice things up.
Yeah, it certainly would.
So yeah. You mentioned Reverend Daniels setting the quickest time of that little session. Damage needs to be put on as well. Hope Indecisive remembers to do that. Thank you, chat, for confirming.
Well then, so I'm going to be going again. We'll just call it a red flag.
Yeah, we'll call it a red flag. Session restart. We're back on the way again. Maybe Reverend Daniels has shown his hand too early now. All the other drivers are going to see that he's got the pace to get in the 103s. But he never knew that. He never knew the session was going to be restarted anyway, so it's not his fault.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, Daniel never knew that this would happen, so I feel like he can give a lot more as well. Like 103.8's a good time, but for our previous race pole sitter, I feel like he can probably exceed that a bit more. But I feel like, anyways, in the drivers' minds, they will know the people who will be able to get into the 103s. So
yeah,
I don't think Daniel would have came to a shock, especially of his qualifying performance last time out in Belgium.
Yeah, some might call him Mr. Saturday if he keeps this form up. Mr. George Russell style, Mr. Saturday, just slapping them pole positions. But yeah. It also it could throw the entire qualifying out the window and strategy. As we saw, Bazza was the only driver to go on mediums. Maybe he thought there was going to be some rain at mid-race that could make him extend the mediums, but we'll never know. Dynamic weather again. We could have a completely monsoon race. I've done a monsoon race around this track, and it was horrendous. You could not see anything, and that's what the drivers are going to need to be working out for. To spray is like a fog, like the car in front of you just disappears between a white mist. And then safety cars could get brought out for the weather as well. And that could help with strategy for these two stoppers. Have we got everyone back in the lobby?
Oh, I think I need to be... if you haven't been, then I'll need to be invited.
If you're not in here, then I should have done it first.
Yes.
Yes, you should. I'll send you a few.
Thank you.
Yeah, you are in. There we go.
Grand.
Yes, Matthew Daniel. Yes, I'm invited him in. I hadn't forgotten. I thought he was already in. You need to have a word with Indecisive about invites. I had to have a word with him when the first round. I didn't get an invite, and it was like 3 minutes before lights out for qualifying, and I was just setting everything up. But yeah. We'll go. The Stewards Briefing that the drivers have been given for this track is quite interesting. And mainly the last line, it says a 3-second time penalty can make a huge difference. It can. It is a very short track for lap time. So if people get multiple of 3 seconds, and a DRS is so powerful as well around this track, if you can keep within that 1 second, if you're within that 1 second window, coming around the final corner, you'll be in DRS all the way up to turn 4 essentially, unless there's a safety car, but then that won't matter. You'll still be in position. So what drivers will be wanting to do at the start of the race is trying to break out that 1 second. You've got those 2 laps to push away to get out that 1 second window, or try and stay in that 1 second window. Then you will start seeing the battles develop through the race. But yeah,
I mean, I think people around here, they'll be, for the first 2 laps, like you said, until DRS is activated. Well, it might not be because of the weather.
Oh yeah, so true.
But I think if it is clear or DRS is activated, like, in the conditions for it to be activated, then I think drivers will be trying to stick as close to people as possible. I certainly think that Daniels, because of how he is in quali, we've seen some promising things from him in quali. I feel like because of his nature and how he drives in quali, I feel like this track could really benefit him. Obviously, it didn't work out for him too well in Spa, dropping from P1 to, I think it was P5. Pardon me, but yeah, it'll be a fun show, no matter the weather. But yeah, I think strategy for drivers will be just staying behind for the few laps, not committing to anything. Obviously, there's 50% of the race left in the first couple of laps, so I don't think drivers will be sweating too much about early overtakes around here, seeming as there is lots of overtaking opportunity.
There are indeed. Just a quick mention as well. Last time they raced, last time one hub raced Austria, Craig Senna in Prospect here was on the podium. Watch out for that. He seems to like this track. He was in the Renault. He's now in Red Bull. He's done a reverse Daniel Ricciardo.
He has.
But yeah, as we mentioned here, the 3 tyre compounds, C4, C3, C2. Pit stop is about 18 seconds. Obviously, if people have a wing change, that adds another 6. 5-second stop go penalties as well, adds a 5. So pit lane, if you have a mare in the pit lane and you're already down the pack, there's a possibility of you being lapped, which is not what we want people to do, because then their race is nearly over, because then if a safety car comes out, unless the leaders pit, they can't unlap themselves. In terms of media, Will, what you got for us to start us off? As we got a nice sunny Spielberg this time.
Wow. The weather has changed. Well, drivers' press conferences. Obviously, prospect here, we were looking at Reverend Daniels. This was his answer. Just getting your feet wet in this league. Where do you think you'll finish this season? Now you're aware of the pace and everyone in the division. I actually can't find an answer for him, unfortunately.
For who? For who, Reverend?
Here we are.
There is
Reverend.
an answer, yeah.
He said, realistically, for me, anything above P10 will be a good result, as it's my first season, but I'm going to aim for 7th or above, as I believe I'm getting stronger in this league now. I just need to remain consistent and cut out my penalties for track limits and other stupid things like speeding in the pit lane at Spa. So that's probably what hindered him in Spa, is the thing. But obviously, Austria, as we said, probably not the best for the old corner cutting penalties. So this will certainly be a good time for him in the race. So I'm wondering if his race pace will be affected by him trying not to get penalties.
Speaking of penalties, Stewards' report from last week was a little bit interesting for this tier, and this tier alone mainly. There were 6 incidents reported. Quite a few penalties got shot around. So incident number 1 was an incident between CPI Storm and MCFC 2020. 20-second time penalties was added to CPI Storm's race time with an inclusion of 2 penalty points. The reason for this was they went side by side through Blanchimont, and Storm turns in without the knowledge of MCFC being alongside. MCFC gets put in a wall and gets red wing damage. Incident 2, MCFC is involved in this one again with RAS Adam. No further action for this, was given a racing incident. Reverend Daniels, our driver, we're praising for last week's pole. Had a little bit of contact with TJW under safety car, I think it was. 5-second penalties that were given to them have been removed. The stewards believe that TJ did nothing wrong on the safety car and his driving was not dangerous at all. Same again for Kington and Liam. Both of them did receive 5-second penalties in Spa. Both have been removed from that result. 5-second penalty for Jake for a collision with Bazza, and a lot of safety car incidents in Spa, by the way. Bazza and Jake had a 5-second penalty given to Jake. It was removed from his race time. Yeah, Jake gets hit from behind from Bazza. Nothing Jake could have done, so 5-second removed. Waze was involved in a little bit of chat talk in the Discord tier chat, where he's been given a qualifying ban to be served next available, so he will not be setting a time, will the AlphaTauri driver, including a 2 penalty point system. Yeah, those were the incidents from Spa last week.
Yeah, just as you were speaking, we've just seen Reverend Daniels go back on provisional pole with a 103.8, so basically an identical lap time. So yeah, I'm just wondering how and if Daniel can improve on this lap as people will start to get quicker.
Yes. I noticed a few other drivers got a bit quicker. Jess did a first provisional time of 1:06. He's now in the 1:05s. Kington down there on a 1:45. Currently 7/10 as Liam improves into a 1:03.8. He's about 6-7 off his nearest rival, essentially, in the championship. So yeah, Liam proving again that this championship is his to go for. He's all currently ahead of his championship rival. Speaking of rivals, we've got our 2 new rivals for this week in prospect. Pavo in the Alfa Romeo and Indecisive Mac in the Haas are your 2 rivals this week. A few drivers on mediums as well will keep on board with the other Alfa Romeo driver of Bazza. So yeah, the questions for each driver was what makes you a better teammate to your team than Haas get with Indecisive? That's quite a broad question to ask a driver. What makes you better than another driver? Why do you think this team deserves you more than that team deserves this driver? But Pavo answered it quite honestly. He said he hasn't really shown that he's a better teammate to his team. He's a better driver for his team. He hasn't scored any points, which have knocked his confidence and performance for the rest of the season, unfortunately. Austria will be his last race of season 18. He has other commitments, unfortunately, and can no longer take part in the rest of the season. Hopefully he can just throw the towel out the window, as he has done, but perform well in his final race this season. Indecisive, also known as Mac, responded to his question of surely your teammate is getting sick of carrying you, but are you confident on beating Pav for the rest of the season, proving Haas are better than Alfa Romeo? Yes, it's true. The papers to rename Haas to Liliart Racing are almost filled due to this. Excuse me. We've not finished bottom yet. We really need no intention of that starting now. We came to finish what we started, and Haas form will change for the better this week. He's pretty confident of that and fed up with all the bad luck he's been hitting of late, and is determined to make up for it this week. Haas will beat Alfa Romeo come the end of the season due to this turnaround, and I'm confident of this happening as I know I'll score more points than Pav to help my teammate out. See you in the points, admin. So Indecisive, very confident going into this Grand Prix. Any thoughts, Will?
Well, getting a little bit saucy, in my opinion, with the rivalries. Obviously, we've just seen two different approaches to the answers. We've seen Mac very, very confident and wanting to bring the fight to the drivers, where it seems like, obviously, Pav on his way out of the league, which is very sad, who's just, in fact, taking it easy. Just going to be just here for a nice time and enjoy his last race, really.
Yeah, he's currently in the pits. He had that obviously mishap in the other qualifying. Maybe he wants to start near the back. A little bit of information I picked up as well from last week. Our driver of the day, Demon. I've noticed a lot that he starts from the back every race. He doesn't do qualifying, and there is a very specific reason that I think is quite generous of him. So yeah, he He never does quali because he raises money for every lap he completes to cancer research. So he always starts last so he doesn't get murdered at the start. So every lap he completes, he'll donate some money to charity. It's very thoughtful of him. So him keeping out the carnage at the start not only benefits himself in the championship, but it will benefit charity as well.
That's brilliant.
It is.
That's now that's things you like to see in the league racing community. So well done, Demon. That's really nice.
I'd see him as my also one to watch here in Austria. Austria is one of the only tracks he tries well at as well, so he's leaving it all to the race, but that's where the points are mainly scored.
Yeah, well, I mean, qualifying position around here, obviously you want to be getting a better start, but obviously Demon's case it's a little bit different. However, I feel like Demon, even though he's been starting at the back, it really hasn't hindered him at all in the race, like getting a clean first lap, really. And he's really shown that he's quite superior to the other drivers in race pace. I mean, he got drive of the day last time out in Belgium. So yeah, and especially as you said, like, if this is a track that he's good at, like, bring it on.
Yeah, bring it on. Just give us some action. He's also, I think it was last week, he mentioned as well, he's never gotten a single track limit penalty at Austria.
Wow.
That's a stat. That's a stat to
now
hear.
That's the pinnacle of consistent.
And when he got the penalty at Canada, it broke a streak of 50 plus races without a penalty. This guy can drive, I'll tell you that. I did a 100% race yesterday around this track, and I got 9 seconds worth of penalties. But this guy can do 50 odd races and not get a penalty. It's very good. Yeah.
That is, yeah, hats off to Demon even more there. Wow. That's a bit shocking, really.
It is. It's very surprising. But we'll go back to quali. And Daniels has been beaten, and beaten by quite a margin. Liam, our championship leader, is 2 tenths quicker than our McLaren driver in 4th now, as Craig Senna and MCFC show their true pace in qualifying, locking out front row and the second row for 4 different constructors. Zach Jarvis not too far behind his teammates, so holding up the other end in the constructors for Red Bull. Pavo getting his first time on the board, which is nice to see for him for his last race. See if we can catch a driver on a track. Fozzie Bear, he's going again. He is on a lap. He had a podium last week in Spa. He got one of the driver of the days from our commentators. He needs to show that he needs to show that even though Astronaut left, he can now try and step into that number 1 role with this new boy MCFC, proving himself in P2 at the moment.
Yeah, well, just going off what you said, Fuzzbear starting his lap, I'm not sure what happened actually, whether it was Pav. It was Pav. However, I think he got caught up in a little something at turn 1, which would suggest why he was 5 tenths down in the first sector, and he's lost 6 tenths in the second sector. So he'll be pitting this lap. I don't think he'll be wanting to fully commit to this, and he's going to come into the pits. Not much point completing another lap when you're 1.2 seconds down. But yeah, as you said, Liam 1:03.6 in pole. That's a very good time, and MCFC following shortly behind. But yeah, also just something to highlight is last time out, as you said, Peter, that Senna, last time he raced in Austria, I think it was a Pinnacle tier, you said. Actually,
it was Prospect. It was Prospect. He was on the podium in this tier last time they raced. Yeah. So he's in that position again.
Yeah. So could see something good from the Red Bull driver there. Definitely need a good result. He hasn't been on the best form, and that's just my opinion. But So I think a good result at Austria could really boost Senna's confidence and hopefully could be a start of a good streak for the Red Bull boys.
It could indeed. He's sort of been put in the shadow with Senna with the new boy Zach Jarvis. But he had a couple of poor performances. I think Singapore was one I remember with Senna, as well as last week. He needs to regain that form. This race, if he performs well, as you said, will build his confidence. And not to mention, he is in our hot-cold drivers of this week. So Craig Senna is cold, not having the best of seasons, and needs to show more if he is to challenge for a second straight Constructors title. So last season, season 17, he won the title for Constructors. He's got a nice teammate that can perform well this season, so probably trying to go for back-to-back. Waze is our hot driver, under the collar as well. Needs to calm down and have more respect for other drivers. He's not only a hot driver, he's a little bit hot-headed, is our Waze.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned he can't play like that because of his infringements in the Discords. But I mean, I feel like Waze, he has the pace, just needs the etiquette to go with it. He's very capable, just needs discipline, in my opinion.
Yeah, indeed. We're getting towards the end of this 18-minute qualifying session. 3.5 minutes to go. It's about 1 minute 5 out lap, maybe 1 minute 10 if you want to save your tyres for an out lap run and then go again. So the drivers will be trying to go out for their runs maybe at the 2 minute mark, but traffic's going to be key. A few drivers already out. Craig Senna is already out doing a hot lap, so we'll stay on board with him as he goes towards turn 3. A little bit of traffic didn't hinder him on the exit. Very difficult corner that I find on exit, especially in the race with worn tyres. If you put the foot down because of the banking, because of the start of the corner, you lose the back end a little, but he looks clean and tidy at the moment. Now into the second sector, run towards turn 6 and 7 to end this middle sector. 44.3 is nearly a tenth and a half up. That will put him in P2 at the moment. It's not enough for provisional pole. He needs to find some more time in this final sector. Doesn't want to run wide on either of these corners, otherwise he will invalidate his lap time. He does it nice and beautifully towards the line. Is this provisional pole? It is indeed, and it's a 1 minute 3.3. He found all the time in the final sector. Pressure is on now for Liam, MCFC and Revan Daniels, all drivers in the 1 minute 3s to challenge for that pole position. But excellent lap from Craig Senna there.
Wow. Craig, where's that come from, buddy? That's incredible. Obviously, Craig, as we literally just said, he was on the podium last time out in Austria. And here he is taking provisional pole. Obviously, now we're going to see Liam, who was on the old pole, is on his outlap now. So wondering if he can improve. But we said a low 103 could be around a pole time. And, well,
that's wide.
Craig's pretty much up.
Excuse me, sorry. I was on board with Craig Senna's teammate, Zach Jarvis. He was on a flyer, and he has lost the back end going through turn 6. And he got wide on the curb into the gravel, lost the back end, and speared into the wall with a broken front wing. That could be and will be his qualifying session over as yellow flags start to wave in that sector. As Zach Jarvis has been disqualified from the session for parking in a dangerous location. He will not be starting anywhere near that P6 on the grid. He will be down in 16th for Austria.
Yeah, poor Zach. I mean, going through Sector 2, especially in turn 6 and 7, the tarmac does get quite bumpy and can catch quite a few drivers off guard. And I'm not sure what actually happened, but it could have been what happened with Zach. So there we are. Zach is starting at the back of the grid in P16. So it's going to be a fight from last It's a 0 to hero, really.
Yeah, indeed. Did you get a drink? I'm not too sure. I've just seen your message now. I wasn't looking at my phone.
I have not. I was waiting for you because I didn't want to go.
You can, but we're going to keep on board. I'll keep on board with King Jin. You can go grab a drink before we get the race underway. Awesome. King Jin now round the final corner to finish his lap. Here in qualifying, he sits P5 at the moment. He improves and he goes up to the front row of the grid. What can Liam do? The car behind up to the line. It's no improvement for Liam, who'll start on the second row. What about MCFC up to the line? He doesn't improve positions either. He will line astern with Liam on the second row of the grid. Craig Senna then, confident going into this race, being already getting a podium last time they raced here in Austria. We've got a few drivers left to finish their lap times. We've got Bazza. Can he get inside the top 10? He can indeed. P6 for the ERT driver of Bazza. 104.1 slots himself on the third row of the grid. And Jess enters the pits. What a qualifying session to end. Zach Jarvis, by the way, as we finish qualifying, I'll run through Jack Jarvis's pre-race interview as we line up on the grid. So, Red Bull Racing driver Craig Senna lines up on pole position here in Austria for Prospecteer round 5. King Jin ahead of his championship rival in second, with Liam in third for Ferrari. MCFC showing his pace again in fourth. Reverend Daniels, after pole, setting the pace in the first session, is now fifth. Bazza, with a late qualifying run, is in sixth. Our new driver Josh in the Renault is seventh. Jake Combs in eighth. Fozzie Bear ninth. CPI Storm is your top 10. Alex Lilliart, indecisive. Jess Pavo will be on fresh tyres along with Demon, Zach Jarvis, TJW and Waze. 3 drivers getting disqualified from the session. 1 from Zach Jarvis. We mentioned him, and we're going to speak about his pre-race interview, if I can re-find it. We found it. So, is he seeking a wet? One of the questions was, is he seeking a wet race? Obviously, you can see that he's not going to be raining. He's been practicing both wet and dry, just in case we do have a wet race. His pace was there. In qualifying, it looked good, but that unfortunate disqualification puts him back 10 positions than probably where he was going to start. Does a 2-stop hinder or help you in your results so far this season? No, not really. I think it helps more than the much boring 1-stop race. It does indeed. It has a lot more action, strategy, a lot more people pit different times, different tyre choices. 1-stops are boring. We've seen it in Formula 1. You saw it in... where we were racing in the Real World Grand Prix. We saw it in Spain on Sunday in the Real Grand Prix, where the 1-stop was not... 1-stop would have been boring, and the 2-stop made it so much more interesting. Hopefully we can get some kind of performance here in Austria. It marks the halfway point in the championship. Already, are you where you should be? What are your goals this week? He could have had a podium or win last week. We saw about his incident where he didn't score any points. Win last week if he didn't bin it, so he's looking at the same with a good result in quali. Unfortunately for you, mate, quali hasn't gone your way, but hopefully the race can. Are you back, Will, from your adventures? Please. He's not. He's getting a drink. This is where you come prepared and have a drink ready with you.
I'm back.
Speak of the devil, here he is. I was just about to see if you were back. Well, I just asked to see if you were back, and it was silent. And then 5 seconds later, he appears. But yeah, not whether you saw.
Oh, Demon's left.
Why has Demon left? We're not doing another lobby restart, are we? I hope not.
Oh, I certainly hope not.
Hopefully Demon can get back in the lobby for the race. As we mentioned, every lap that he completes, he donates money to cancer research. But yeah, you missed an outstanding end of the quali. You shouldn't have left, but you did. King Jin managed to slap himself on the front row of the grid. ahead of his championship rival, Liam, who couldn't improve. Sight Demon's game has crashed, apparently, and his car is not on the... Oh, it is on the grid. His car is on the grid. If he can get... If Demon can get back in the lobby, it's not all over just yet.
Yeah, I mean, let's hope Demon can get back in. He should be able to. But his AI could be driving for a little bit.
Yeah. Hopefully he's got enough invites to get back in. Tyre choice, by the way. Top 10 all started on the tyres they qualified on, all softs. 11th, 12th, both Hasses on softs, with Jess on softs as well. Going aggressive off the start. Pabo's gone mediums, will go run long in this race. Try and do the alternate strategy. Demon, whether he had the choice or not, is on softs. Zach going for the alternate strategy along with TJW in the sister team of AlphaTauri, where he's going aggressive off the start as well on softs. MCFC has left the session as well. Are you there, Will?
I am indeed. Sorry, yeah, I'm just...
It's alright.
Trying to regain some form of concentration after this week, but...
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
I mean, just seeing drivers come up to the grid now, aren't we? Hopefully we can get a good clean race start.
Yeah. Notice as well, MCFC 2020 in the Mercedes are disconnected from the lobby as well. So that's two drivers that are not going to be in their cars come the start of this race, and it's really going to hinder that Mercedes team for the constructors if Nosy MCFC cannot get back in the car. But here we go then. We're going to wait for the 5 red lights to come on for our 18 drivers on the grid for round number 5 here in One Hub, season 18, and it's lights out and away we go. Decent start from Craig Senna. He moves over to the right to take the racing line, but it's an excellent start from not only Kington, but Liam as well. Liam's trying to go up the inside of his championship rival and may lose out that position to Craig Senna, who's already falling a few positions down the order. Evan Daniels is now challenging him. Craig Senna goes defensive, but then dives back up the inside towards turn 3 and gets P2 back. Bit of contact further behind between the midfield pack. Basil to 5th as MCFC's AI car drops down the field and looks to be going outside the top 10. We saw Demon get back in as Baza now makes a lunge up the inside of the McLaren towards turn 4, and he gets the move done. Reverend Daniels has no fight back for that, but it is early on, 36 laps in this race. 2-stop strategy, and these drivers showing their pace on lap 1.
Yeah, what a start by King. And I thought there was going to be a little bit of contact, honestly, with the way he was defending against Liam. Ow, Craig Senna!
There's been an accident. Did he lose his back end? Was there contact? He's had a collision with Baza.
No. Oh no, he just lost his back end going through turn 9 on the exit. Looks like he just rode the apex a little bit too much and he went round. So now he's dropped down into the pits. But back to what I was saying, Kingan, just got a really good start and a really good gap now. So yes, definitely something positive to go on.
Some 5-second penalties flying left, right and centre. So Demon managed to get back in the lobby, but he's been stricken with a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags when they were waving on the track. Maybe got an illegal overtake. Could be scrutinised at the end. Josh Wilkins as well with a penalty. Let us see what penalty that is. It is a 5-second as well. So no track limits penalties at the moment. The orders flicking out all over the place. Apparently Senna's leading again, but we can confirm it's Kington who leads the field at the end of lap 2 as Liam got disconnected and is dropping down the order. He's back in. Absolute drama, not only in the midfield for that fight for P3 in the drivers, but between Kington and Liam for that top spot as DRS gets enabled.
Yeah, but quite a gap that's been built between the current leader and P2, now 2.7 seconds, but it's all to play for down at the bottom. The team of Alex Lilliart, as Mackie calls it, Haas are doing fairly well. Mackie down in P11. Alex is currently in P4, going very strong, had a great start to the Grand Prix, and now is chasing down the McLaren of Reverend Daniels.
Craig Senna has had another incident on his outlap after making a pit stop for that contact with Bazza. He is now back in the pits and he may go a lap down. Kington is going across the line to start lap 4, and Craig Senna has been lapped. But he has made his 2 stops. I'm seeing in the chat that lobby is glitched. It definitely is. What is an F1 game without a lobby glitch? It happens every week. Not only in one hub, but throughout the F1 community. When people try and race, the online gaming community are not a fan of this game, as Waze gets by Jake up to 5th. Excellent start from Bazza. After starting P6, he's up to 2nd, with Reverend Daniels on the podium. Alex Lilliart, you mentioned the Haas having a phenomenal start, managed to avoid all the carnage, is up to 4th.
Yeah, very good drive by Alex. And Waze up in the AlphaTauri is getting very close to Lilliart. So you've seen the little young Max Verstappen getting up there. So yeah, hopefully Waze can do well. He was right at the bottom because obviously he had his quali ban. But he's proving he's got some very strong pace runs there.
Fozzie Bear defends from Jake. Fozzie Bear up to 6th. Losing a little bit of time from this group of 3 that are now in a little DRS train as Liam rejoins the session. But there might be an overtake from Lilliart up the inside towards turn 6. It's the very tight corner to go side by side with. Reverend Daniels leaves him the room and leaves Lilliart the inside for turn 8 and 9. Oh, 7 and 8, sorry. But holds on to the position. Alex Lilliart's got a lot more pace in this Haas than Reverend Daniels does in the McLaren.
Yeah, Daniels just looks like he's holding up the pack from 3rd down to 5th. Is Lily? Well, no. Now you see, this is what we were talking about in qualifying, just about the strategic decision of when to make a move, and it looks like Lilliart's gone for the move down up until turn 3 on the straight. But this does mean now that Daniels will have DRS.
He goes wide. He goes wide on the exit. That gives Reverend Daniels the perfect run. He wants to regain P3 from Lilliart. And it gives Waze the opportunity to go up the inside and take P4. Lilliart, after making a position, runs wide, goes a little bit deep under brakes in towards turn 3, and has lost out now in 5th.
Yeah, obviously it's not the best, not the ideal situation for Lilliart at the moment, but he's shown he's got the pace, and Daniel's probably the slowest, in my opinion, out of the 2 drivers who are battling for P3, is now back in front, so this will give Lilliart a chance to regain the time he lost at turn 3 back to these 2 guys.
He might even want to play it strategic. Let Waze have a little nick at Reverend Daniels up towards turn 3. Doesn't go for it. Backs out. Moves back onto the racing line. This compromises his run up towards turn 4. But he gets the better exit than Reverend Daniels. He's going to have the inside towards turn 4. Will this be an overtake for Waze to get himself onto the podium? It is. Revan Daniels, very respectable, leads in the space, but this compromised this run. And Lilliart's all over him again. Lilliart's going to have the inside to turn 6 again. Daniels leaves him the space. But Revan Daniels hangs on. This little bit of battling behind is allowing Waze to pull away a little bit, but not out of that 1 second window. It's flickering a little bit. This is a very crucial corner for Revan Daniels. Whether he gets DRS at the moment, he's not going to get it. The white line is just here where he crosses to get activation as Waze runs wide, gets his first penalty of the race, and that's Revan Daniels without DRS, but he is going to get it on Waze up towards turn 3.
Yeah, well, good move by Waze, but something to really note here is Lilliart's and Daniels' percentage compared to Waze. Waze is only on 8% at the moment. And Daniels and Lilliart are both over 60%.
Yeah, Waze wanted to get a move on, started burning his EOS to push ahead. He's done so far, but hasn't managed to break that 1 second window. I noticed this as well. If you burn all your EOS too early and you want to pull away, it's quite impossible if the drivers behind have a sufficient amount, which they do. Further behind, our highest medium runner is TJW. He got disqualified in qualifying himself and is already up a few positions inside the top 10 now on the alternate strategy. He's a driver to watch for the rest of this Grand Prix. There is a little bit of gap forming from CPI Storm in 8th to 7th and upwards. Yeah, Bazza now on the back of the race leader, who's getting DRS and a little bit of slipstream from Craig Senna behind. Zach Jarvis has been in the pits as well. Whether it was for damage, he did start near the back, or maybe got caught in a kerfuffle, but he's also 31 seconds ahead of his teammate in 17th, who is trying to pull away from these leaders. He might get blue flags and get 5-second penalties, but what he is doing is giving Kingdon some DRS to help him defend against Bazza.
Yeah, I certainly think that Bazza has seriously pulled back the gap on Kingdon. Kingdon had a really strong lead at the start. Bazza looking like he's got superior pace at the moment, in my opinion, seeing as how he's just brought back a gap of 2.7 seconds to like 7/10. So if there's anything to go by, then Bazza could get an overtake done very soon, but obviously, as said, England's always got for a second time, haven't you, Bazza? Just now, for multiple warnings, probably exceeding track limits, but yeah, Kingdon's just getting DRS off of Craig's AI, which is really helping him, actually.
Sorry about that. There was an alarm going outside my house, and I thought it was my fire alarm, so I just shut the window. But yeah. You mentioned the gap to Kingdon and Baz was about 2.6 seconds. I think Craig Senna overtaking Kingdon, because obviously the car's ghosted, he can go straight through, can be a little bit off-putting. He may be getting DRS, and he may be getting marginal slipstream. Not too sure what the slipstream's like if the car is ghosted. Sometimes it can work, sometimes it's not. Maybe the car's a little bit too far ahead. There's a little bit of a tank slapper out of turn 8 for Kingdon. Maybe puts being put under pressure as Bazza looks to pit and takes the entry. He's not going to pit. Kingdon does. He does the opposite. Bazza stays out. He's going to get DRS. This gives Craig Senna an opportunity to keep himself unlapped, but Bazza now probably going to get undercut by Kingdon, as well as I saw Wade's pit, Rema Daniels' pit, Liam's pit for fresh softs, as well as MCFC. They're going to try and regain themselves back into this race, and Fuzzy Bear is in as well, along with Sight Demon, who started on the softs.
Yeah, alternate strategy is actually looking quite good now. TGW's making it work.
He is indeed. He's on the back of Prix Storm, but you got to remember the net race leader is right behind these two, and if any kerfuffle happens up front, as TJW is going to go up the inside of Prix Storm, is there going to be any room left on the inside? They're side by side through turn 4, now through turn 5 to the run towards turn 6. Storm will have the inside. He's going to force TJW as he tries to do the under and over. There's contact between Storm and TJW. Kingdom wants to keep out of this as much as possible. This undercut is not going to work for Kingdom if he cannot get by these drivers.
Yeah, this is really going to hurt King Jen. He's just stuck behind TJW. This is really going to hurt him.
Baz is about to come out the pits. They're going to be very close. Come on, exit. The DRS may have helped Kingdon stay ahead, and he does stay ahead. He's got TJW as well. That's a car between himself and Bazza. TJW is on older tyres. Will be running 2 sets of softs at the end as he goes very deep into turn 3. Locks up, doesn't run into the back of Kingdon, and will try and stay in. If he can stay in DRS of Kingdon, maybe hold up Bazza. Whether TJ and Kingdom want to do that between themselves, I'm sure TJW will want to be taking advantage of this slipstream, the DRS. He's got a lot of DRS to burn, so he can stay ahead of Bazza if he wants to. He doesn't have to give way. There might be alternate strategies, but if a safety comes out, it's all to play for. As Liliart are one of only 2 drivers left to pit. TJW will be our only driver out on track yet to stop.
Yeah, I personally, I don't know how long he can take these mediums on for. There's no visible wear at the moment, but he's losing so much time to everyone else. Obviously, they are on 12-lap fresher tyres, but still, he's losing a lot of time where I don't think he'd want to be.
Yeah, we'll have a little look at the damage front to see if there is wing damage on any of the drivers. Revan Daniels down in P5 has suffered wing damage on the left end plate, 25%. That's going to hinder him. That's probably why he's dropping off the back of Waze. Maybe there was a little bit of contact between a few drivers. As Zach now, look at this, nearly 3 wide on the run down towards turn 4. Zach getting 2 in 1 in the space of 2 corners. As that's Josh trying to go around the outside of the racing point, tried to brake a little bit later, ran a bit wide, and it's on those 10-lap old softs. He did hit really early, did Josh. He's probably going to do an extra stop on some mediums to go to the end if he can make it. I'm sure 20 laps is doable on the mediums.
CPI Storm's just picked up a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. We're going to start seeing a lot more people now getting these penalties. King Jed is the only one who's up at the top who doesn't have one. So if he can keep this consistent, then he's in for a good time.
He is indeed. You got to keep an eye out for TJW as well. Although he's on the alternate strategy, as they go side by side towards turn 4, both try and brake late. Little bit of a lock up from TJ, but gets the move back, and this is helping Kingdon massively. We saw that Kingdon got held up a little bit by Craig Senna, trying to keep himself from being unlapped, and now you can see TJW helping out Kingdon in the Williams by making that gap get larger and larger, keeping Bazza behind. Bazza may want to keep his head cool. He is in a comfortable position, but it won't be for much longer, as Waze now is in this fight for even second place. He's now in DRS.
Yeah, well, King Jen's just flying. 2.3 seconds ahead now, and TJW held King Jen up a little bit on his run, and I feel like Baz is going to get a little bit aggravated because of this, and he's got Waze behind him as well.
Yeah, Waze is going to not make this easy for Bazza. One goes left, one goes right. Alpha Tower is going to have to go around the outside if he wanted to make a move into turn 4. Waze wanting to get a move on. Bazza having a little less EOS than Waze at this moment. Maybe hook it in low mode, just harvest it. If you sat behind another driver, if you're in DRS and slipstream, you can save fuel, you can save EOS very easily. As it looks like TJW is going to make his first pit stop. This is going to be a compromise run from Bazo into turn 9. It is indeed. This is the time that Waze is wanting. Maybe there was team orders. Maybe TJW was told to hold Baza up for Waze to get P2. At the moment, it looks like it's working out for AlphaTauri against Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, this is sensational. Where's TJW going to come out, though? He's going to come out P10.
Does he get clear air? Has he jumped Storm? Storm was holding him up. Is Storm ahead? Is Storm behind? It looks like they're going to be close. They're on the run-up. They've got side by side between MCFC and Storm behind. Them two came together in a collision in Spa. No contact here, but that's a late lunge up the inside from MCFC into turn 3. TJW now is going to have to take advantage of those fresh softs. He's got MCFC behind on softs, but Storm on mediums. This is pushed now till the end of the race from TJW. 20 laps to go. He can easily do 10 on each. Maybe if a safety car comes out, if safety car comes out about lap 26, could really help TJW in this race. He's one of the only few drivers yet to get a penalty as well.
He's running very strongly in terms of consistency with Demon and King Gen. Obviously, we don't expect much less from Demon with that incredible track style of I've never got a penalty in whatever it was. But yeah, King Gen looking very strong now. A 4.3 second gap up top with no penalties as he sees to go and get another one. TJW certainly can gather a lot of time, especially on the softs, well, as he is on the softs, and also how he's a lot. He doesn't have as much penalties as Jarvis in front of him.
Yeah, but we mentioned team orders between the AlphaTauri. I'm sure Alfa Romeo were trying to do the same. I noticed that Pav getting lapped by his teammate and Waze. He was in front. Maybe Pav could have held Waze up a little bit, but he did the sensible option of getting out of the way of both drivers. And now Waze is on a charge for Kingdon.
Yeah, Waze looking very strong, but the gap of, how TJW was holding him up really hasn't helped him. I'm not sure what his mental confidence will be like. But Kingdon's just got to make the most of the clean air and the time gap and the lack of penalties he's got.
He does indeed. Well, he has to realise that gap may look like 4 seconds, but it's not. It's 7. With that time penalty for Waze, that puts a huge amount of breathing space, less pressure on Kingdon. So it doesn't even have to push as hard, knowing the drivers behind have got a penalty and may get more. What Bazo, I think, has done is quite sensibly. If Waze is faster, sit behind and get him to drag you along. If you were falling away from the leader and this driver Waze can catch up, this would really benefit Bazo in pulling himself towards the front. Alex Lilliot's on a charge as well, still in P4 after taking a later pit stop of all the soft runners. He's on fresh mediums compared to the rest of them, but I want to watch is TJW as Liam is on the back of Zach down towards turn 1. Liam on 9 lap old softs, Zach Jarvis on 12 lap old mediums. Tyres are going to start to wear for Liam, especially with the dirty air. Liam on 47% worn tyres. Zach Jarvis' highest is 46, so very similar. But will Liam get the move now towards turn 4? Because neither of them have got DRS. That's odd. Neither of them have got... Oh, it's a safety car. What happened?
I'm really not sure.
What happened?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I was looking at TAS.
I can't see anything on TAS.
Craig Senna's pit. This is an opportunity for Craig to get back on some fresh tyres. He's going to go mediums to the end. With the drivers slowing down, we see Jess in the pits as well, taking advantage of her second stop. Yeah, that was Jess's second stop. Jake's made 2 and Josh as well, so they'll be running to the end. But safety car, not too sure what that was for.
No, neither am I.
That's a bit hairy from Zach into the pits, and Liam's got him on the outside.
What's gone on?
Zach got a little bit hairy coming into the pits as I rode on board with him as the leaders all followed themselves into the pits to get on fresh tyres to the end. Zach had a little bit of a moment, got caught on the grass, and Liam went round his outside in the pit lane. It is legal, it is part of the track. Just because the safety car's out, the pit lane still counts as part of the track. But that overtake from Liam and mistake from Zach hasn't really paid off for Liam, as Zach got the quicker pit stop. Red Bulls are known for their quicker pit stops, and gets them back out in front of the Ferrari.
Yeah, this would have hurt Kingen in my opinion. He had a very good lead, didn't he?
He did.
But now that's just going to be crushed. No TJW to help him this time, so this is. I feel like now it's just going to be a sprint race on these mediums.
It is going to be a sprint to the end. Demon, the only driver yet, other than Pavo, yet to make their second stop. I thought he would have followed suit and followed strategy and boxed with everyone else, but he's trying something different. Maybe he can see another safety car coming out, with all the drivers now going to be bunched up. I think it's every driver from P1 to P17 are going to be line astern for the restart. I'm not too sure where Pavo is going to be in the middle of this. Let's have a ride on board with him. He is sat behind a Haas and ahead of Fozzie Bear. So yeah, he's in between P4 and P5 as Demon does now pit. He takes a sensible option of pitting on the safety car. He is going to lose a lot of positions, but this might be sensible for him. He does it in qualifying. He starts towards the back to avoid the carnage. This could be strategic and very smart from him. He is going to go on softs to the end. One of only few drivers that are going to...
Some wings gone off here at the back. Huge kerfuffle.
Pavo's trying to get out of the way of some drivers, and there's been some contact. Yeah. I think Jake's got damage.
Pavo's got damage, 100%. Yeah. I saw like that dark red of an Alfa Romeo wing.
Okay, Jake doesn't have damage, slowly. But he has a penalty. Does
I'm not sure at all with what's going on here. It's just really confusing.
Maybe Pavo was trying to be sensible and let everyone through. Not too sure. Yeah, he's in the gravel now. I think he's just letting everyone go by so he doesn't hinder their race. Obviously, he's not going to be ghosted under safety car, which is quite difficult for some drivers. Yeah, Pavo 100% on that left end plate. Does he get out of the way of Jess? Or will he? I think he will box straight away. We're going to go for one more caution lap on the safety car, and then I believe we'll get underway for the restart. Yeah, Jess gets through nice and cleanly. Pav is in the pits. You mentioned that Kingen would be the biggest loser of this, but at the moment it doesn't really affect him too much. Yes, he's going to be under pressure from a lot of drivers behind, a lot of quick drivers, including Zach Jarvis on the softs, but he also doesn't have a single penalty, and Waze has 6, so even if he gets 1, he's still in net lead, even though TJ and Revans are overtaking on the safety car. I'm not sure what's happening here. A bit of kerfuffling on the safety car. Come on, boys, keep it sensible. It's called a no overtaking safety car for a reason. You're supposed to keep position. But unless TJ's trying to give a position back to MCFC, I'm not too sure.
To be fair, you do get some glitches on this game with safety car. It tells you to overtake. You get a penalty if you don't, and all of that shebang. So safety car in this lap. So I don't know. I feel like there could be a little glitch going in between all these guys at the back. But then again, I'm not too sure. But that's why, again, you just don't overtake on the safety car.
Yeah. So TJW leaving a little bit of a gap for these top 9 slowing down. Matthew Daniel confirming he slowed down to let him pass. Not too sure why, but Kingen's going to lead us as the safety car is going to peel in. Nice and slow. got to watch out for drivers getting 5 seconds for collisions. When's Kingjin going to go? If he doesn't want to be susceptible for an overtake, maybe the exit of the final corner. He's not looking punchy just yet. Baz is going to have to keep on high alert. Zach Jarvis has made an overtake as Jake collides with CPI Storm. Kingjin punches it out of the final corner, and we go green flag running for 14 more laps here in Austria. And that's a restart and a half from Kingjin. Already 6/10 to Baza. But that's not the 1 second winner he's going to be looking for. Zach Jarvis gets a penalty for corner cutting. That's going to help Kingjin, even if he gets a penalty himself. This is going to help TJ as well. Don't forget him. One of the drivers without a penalty. CTI Demon as well without a penalty. He did pick up a 5 second earlier on, but he has served that and is back in the running as TJW is dropping down the order. He's had contact with someone. He's had a spin, and that could be race over for the AlphaTauri driver. Meanwhile, the other AlphaTauri driver up in P3 is on a charge. He's got Bazza in front as Bazza has already fallen out of that 1 second window. Are you there, Will? Have you muted yourself?
I am here.
You are here.
Trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, it's a bit hectic.
Just a bit, sad for Daniel, really. Yeah, he was going really strong, but now he's down to P8 again. Liam making a move to turn 1 and Fuzzy there, just gonna let everyone know there. But Zach Jarvis, he's chosen, well, he's opted to the softs. Not sure if they'll last, but yeah. Yeah, they should last. The safety car has probably helped. We'll keep an eye on task for tyre wear. But Zach, mate, as you mentioned, Liam got an overtake on Fuzzybear into turn 1. Zach did the exact same thing on Liliart turn 1 to get himself up to P4. He's making progress on these softs. He does have 6 seconds worth of penalties, and Waze and Baza are falling adrift of Kingjin, who is storming away and already outside that 1 second window. Yeah, Kingjin is just looking so dominant, isn't he? He's just cruising by himself at the top, no dirty air, no one to really worry, and behind us, no one's in the DRS of him at the moment. So yeah. Yeah, Bazza's starting to fall away from Waze a little bit. He's out of that 1 second window, and he's got the charging Red Bull of Zach on his gearbox. More moves further down the field as MCFC gets by Josh. Reverend Daniels is out of this race. Is that a pit lane retirement? It has indeed. We should not be seeing a safety car for that retirement, as our first retiree of the Grand Prix is the McLaren. CPI Storm and Senna have given it side by side towards turn 4. Senna wants to be making up some ground after his mishaps on lap 1. There's contact between the two, and I'm not so sure how to put it. Craig got knocked, sent sideways into Storm. Storm didn't really give him any room on the inside. The contact was made before the entry of turn 4. More damage for Craig Senna and more heartbreak for Red Bull, as the look just isn't there for Craig Senna at the moment. Yeah, Renault as well. Storm coming off badly. I wasn't really watching as Liam goes into a barrier as well.
What's happened there?
This is Kingan's chance to nab top of the
championship. Top of the championship.
Top of the championship. Yeah, thank you.
Liam with damage makes a pit stop. Worn tire. Oh, heavily worn tires. Zach gets up the inside of Bazza. Bazza not seeming to got the pace. Zach has outbroke himself. Bazza's going to get the exit. Which of these gets the DRS? It's Bazza. Bazza was behind on the DRS activation line up towards turn 3, and Bazza hangs on. Liam retires from the race in the pit lane. That's our second one in 2 laps for this prospect tier set of drivers. Our championship leader is not going to be scoring any points, and Kingjin at the moment is looking to get the full Monty of 20. But Waze is not done yet. Waze has closed that gap down. It's now under a second. He is pacey, is Waze on these mediums. These seem to be his tyre of choice for pace, but he's got those 6 seconds worth of penalties, and that's not going to help him. Here's where we're going to get DRS.
Yeah, I don't think Kingan will want to fight this too hard, obviously, because Kingan doesn't have penalties and not going to ruin his race by defending too harshly or whatever.
We'll see what Kingan does. Both of them very low on EOS, so going to start harvesting for both of them, but that DRS, that extra 18 kilometers an hour for Waze down the back straight is really going to help. Not only is the slipstream from the Williams, is there going to be a move? Waze looks to the inside for turn 4, thinks better of it, realises try and get a better run. He's going to try and go for the inside to turn 6. He boosted a little bit with his overtake on the exit of turn 4. Looking very racy his Waze.
Yeah, Waze does have the better pace, but is he burning his tyres too quickly? Obviously, he still have 9 laps left of the Grand Prix. So if Kingan's just, hanging in there with his tyres, not spending too much of the grip at yet, but Waze is just looking really quick in the straight lines, obviously, because he does have the drag reduction system. But either way, still, these straights are rather long, which you get the DRS on.
They are indeed. In terms of pit stops, everyone's made their mandatory. It's a fight to the finish here in one hub. We've got 9 laps to go, including this one. Waze needs to get a move on, though, because Zach is on a charge, and that gap is slowly coming down. These tyres are going to wear out a little bit more than the mediums, but at the moment, they're looking pretty tidy. 20% all around, realistically, for Zach's tyres. I think he's going to be struggling towards the end, but Waze's tyres are on 20% as well. Best tyres of the grid is Josh in P8 on fresh mediums, according to TAS, but I don't think he is on fresh mediums because it says there he's on 10 lap.
Yeah, it's all confusing. But the gap just slipping from Waze a little bit now. 2 tenths he's lost across this lap, so hoping DRS can really save him. But Kingan is pushing more on the ERS. But either way, Kingan's looking a lot quicker than Waze in the middle sector, and that looks to be what's hindering Waze, actually, is his middle sector.
Yeah, both. Yeah, that dirty air is going to be a real killer through that section of corners. I found it a lot as well driving on this track. Very close to a driver, the dirty air really unsettles the car. You want to be running low wings around this track because there's so many DRS straights that if you run high wings, you're just susceptible for overtake. Speaking of being susceptible for an overtake, Lilliard is down to 8th, but he's going to fight it back with the Mercedes driver towards turn 4. Lilliard resulting to hold on to P5. That's MCFC back into P4.
Yeah, here we are then. Waze has just lost a lot more time going through the middle sector, but as you said, Lilliard and MCFC fighting it out. Obviously, MCFC, the new buck around town, trying to prove something. Obviously, he's a little bit off the podiums at the moment. 2.9 seconds away from Jarvis. But it's all to play for in P4.
Yeah, Lilliard probably tried to keep his nose clean as well. He does have one less penalty than all the drivers, barring Kingan, up front. So Fogibear as well, only with 3 seconds. Well within 3 seconds of his teammates. Could get feisty towards the end with 7 to go here in one hub.
Yeah, obviously 7 to go. It's, as we said on the restart, it's just going to be essentially a sprint race, but I have a feeling the Waze is pushing it overly, probably a little bit too hard for this current point. I feel like he wants to be pushing maximally around lap 33 when he has 3 laps to go, almost losing it on the end. Almost losing it. But yeah, Kingan's really opening a gap now. Well, he's still in his DRS, but it's getting a bit more space out between these two. Yeah.
But as you mentioned, the dirty air is quite strong in the middle sector. That's where Kingan can take advantage, but this the triple section of DRS for Waze is really, really helping him and really, really hindering Zach Jarvis. As we've got, is that Bazza has made a mistake. He's now down in 14th. This driver was battling for a podium and he's now down in 14th is our ERT driver. I don't think he has any damage. If he did, he might have pit. But on task, we have... It's not updated. Apparently, Bazza is not in 14th. Let me do a quick refresh. Yep, Bazza in 14th. And Bazza has 100% on the left. Surprised he didn't pit. Maybe he should go for fastest lap. He's got Storm behind him. Might be challenging for that extra points paying position.
Yeah. It's going to be right down to the wire. But Kingdom, again, he just has no penalties. The guy's hella consistent around here. Same with Demon.
Yeah, both drivers keeping it on track. If we get a late safety car, this is really going to hinder those drivers with penalties. I think if we get 1 or 2 more green flag running laps, there wouldn't be no more safety cars. So it's all going to go down to the checkered flag in terms of who finishes where. But at the moment, Kingdon's looking very, very hopeful for P1, as I believe that is Bazza in the pits now to get that wing off. He's not just getting the wing off, he's getting himself out of the car as Storm takes the fastest lap with a 1:05.2. That's a decent lap time from Storm now, down in 14th. Showing he does have the pace. Maybe with a lighter car it's a little bit easier in the free air, but maybe a driver that's missed out on a strong finish due to incidents.
Yeah. I feel like obviously the incidents are starting to punish drivers back here as we're getting into the later race now, but especially penalties as well. We're going to see huge changes on the final results.
We will indeed. One huge change that we might see is MCFC drop down at least 2 positions, because he's got Alex Lilliot and Fozzie Bear behind, both with lesser penalties. Fozzie Bear picked up a second track limit penalty this lap to take his tally to 6 seconds, but he's in the DRS of Alex. But that gap's in this middle sector. Alex seems to be struggling through these corners. As I said, the downforce, even in clear air, if you haven't got the downforce on the car, you are going to struggle with worn tyres. Fozzie Bear keeping within that DRS, but only just keeping within that 3 second of his teammates. And then that will put some confidence on Fozzie Bear's head top if he can beat his teammate once again.
Yeah. I feel like MCFC just kind of... I don't know, personally, I feel like he's got a lot to... nothing to lose and a lot to prove, you know what I mean? This is going to be close. I'll let you take over here, mate.
The leaders are side by side. I was watching Fozzie Bear and Alex Lilliot, but the leaders have swapped positions. Waze is taken P1 on track with 3 laps to go. Kingdon didn't really fight it from the looks of the side by side down to turn 4. But what Kingdon's going to do now, he doesn't have to worry. Even if he gets 1 track limit penalty, he'll have a fresh start for a new run with 3 warnings. But he doesn't want to be getting any more. He may not even have any at the moment. But all he needs to do is stick within Waze's DRS, stick within 6 seconds of DRS. I'm not sure Waze can pull out 6 seconds, especially with the lack of overtake to pull away. Kingdon's got this one in the bag, but Zach Jarvis not doing enough on those soft tyres, starting to fall away. And Zach isn't able to get in that 1 second window. I think if Zach was able to get in that 1 second window a lot earlier, it could have been a challenge for both of these. Kingdon,
I thought Kingham was just sending it then, but that was just my camera angle.
Yeah, I heard you, and I had a look at the timing screens at the top between the 2 drivers, but nothing to see in terms of contact. I mentioned Fozzie Bear got by Alex. Fozzie Bear needed to get by Alex because he's slowly falling out of that 3 second window of his teammate ahead. There's only 2 laps to go. Well, not even 2 laps. 1.5 to go here in one hub. The win looks certain for Kingdon, but will he want to take that pride on track? Say that he's led practically all the race, and will we want him to lead the final lap? Will he go for it? It's not really worth the risk. If you get a bit of damage, you might lose out on more positions. Every driver behind does have penalties. You've got to be aware of that. And he will be aware of that as well. I'm sure Williams will be absolutely fantastic to see that it's going to be a back-to-back win for the Williams driver of Kingdon, as long as he keeps it clean here on this final lap. Not going for any aggressive move towards turn 1. We'll see if Alex gets any closer to Fozzibear. He does not. So we'll stay on board with these two. Waze leading the way, starting at the back. Sorry, Will, but he started at the back. Oh, there's nearly contact between the two. Late on the brakes was Kingdon compared to Waze. Maybe Waze trying to catch him out a little, force him into an error.
No, he doesn't. Oh, no. He doesn't have damage, does he?
He doesn't have damage. I don't think even if he did have damage, this is the final lap. This is the final sector of this Austrian Grand Prix. Waze may have got the track position as he rounds the final couple of corners, but it's going to be the Williams driver of Kingdon who's going to take back-to-back victories and the championship lead here in Prospect here. Fantastic drive from him. Waze will hang on for a podium in P2. Zach, with a recovery drive, gets the other spot on the podium. Fozzibear does take Enosia MCFC's spot in P4. Alex will jump him in P5. TJW, we mentioned, if only he didn't have that little spin, has managed to recover beautifully up to P6. MCFC and the Mercedes is in 7th. Jake in 8th. Josh in 9th. It's back-to-back top 10 finishes for Demon. He's made up quite a few and is in 10th. Will be scoring points again. Craig Senna not having the best race after an amazing qualifying. To be near the front, having an incident early on. Indecisive will get himself in the points with P12. Jess will be in 13th. CPI Storm 14th, and Pavo, managing to finish the race, is in 15th. What a race.
What a race indeed, Pete. That was something to watch. Right down to the wire.
It was.
And it was a real guessing game of who actually stayed in their position, or who jumped position, or who actually lost positions.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. So, we've got some driver of the days to pick. And some questions to think of. Who do you think deserves your driver of the day nomination?
Well, I'm going to go for Waze. Last time out I went for the winner. This time I'm going to go for the guy who came in P2, and in my opinion he was the best driver out there. Obviously we had Kingan, who had a stellar drive, also converting P1 to P1, and had some great pace throughout. But Waze, who actually took P1 on track, but started from, I think it was 16th or 17th on the grid.
He started 18th on the grid. He started 18th.
18th in fact. So I gather that's pretty, that's last. Yeah, so he started last and took, P1 on track. So my question for Waze is obviously, following on from the incredible pace he had, in my opinion, the best driver on the grid today, what does he want to improve going into the next round here in One Hub Racing? What does he need to improve on? Obviously, he got the 6-second time penalty today, which lost him out on the P1. Is that something he needs to work on, or is it more of getting up there at the start? I just want to know, what is it? What is it he needs to work on to really get these wins in the bag?
Yeah, and my driver of the day, it's quite difficult to choose one. I was so close to choose his teammate for a double AlphaTauri, but I might have to give it to Zach, who from the back as well has managed to line himself up on the podium. He took the alternate strategy compared to everyone around for that final stop onto softs. I'd like to know, Mr. Jarvis, was the strategic call best for you to gain positions off the restart? And did the ties feel a little bit worse for when you started to close in on the leaders? because I was hoping you'd pounce on these two with the softer compound. But yeah. Also, do you see yourself as now nearly the number one driver at Red Bull? You've put in a performance of the ages so far, with Craig Senna down in 11th after starting on pole. A bit unlucky for Craig, but yeah, Zach and Way's drivers of the day for us here in Prospect here. So what an end to that Grand Prix that was. It was quite thrilling to see the action all the way to the checkered flag. Kington tried to keep it cool, but Waze was trying to throw him off all the way to the finish line. And next week we've got the Spanish Grand Prix at Catalunya for round 6. And I'm sure it's going to be an exciting one. If it's anything like the end or the Hamilton-Verstappen battle in the real Spanish Grand Prix, I feel like we're going to get a nice treat for next week.
Definitely.
So, to round it off for this evening, I hope you've enjoyed the race and enjoyed watching it and enjoying that 36th lap Grand Prix with us. Be sure to check out the rest of the races happening here at One Hub. You've got the Points, Podium and Pinnacle that will be live on YouTube, and you've got the Precision Cheer that will be live on Twitch later this evening at 7:45 for the Precision Tier. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to check out our sponsors of Next Level Gen Racing, Liam RBS, 3M Sim Racing, Vespertine ERT, and Time to Print. I've been your commentator, Pillar 9, and Will, it's been a pleasure for you having you back once again. Hope you've enjoyed it as much as me.
Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure to commentate with you once again, Peter. And what a race to do it on the comeback. So yeah, hoping. On to Spain. On to Spain
indeed. Maybe it won't be. Maybe it might be Spain without the S for some of these drivers, but we'll see next week for Prospector. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next week.